Hello everybody, welcome to the Redmen TV. My name is Ben Kelly. The World Cup is here, kick-off is fast approaching in Russia, and there is a shed load of Liverpool FC related stuff that you need to know. There are 8 groups of 4 teams heading out to the tournament in Russia, and there is plenty to dissect in all of them, and I'm going to talk you through all of that today. We're going to talk about current Liverpool players going to the tournament, past Liverpool players going to the tournament, players to watch at the tournament, potential future Liverpool players at the tournament, and some of the big games to watch as well. So we're going to start with Group A, which contains the hosts Russia, Saudi Arabia, Uruguay and Egypt, and of course the main Liverpool player in this group right now is Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian king, who has declared himself fit to be able to play in Egypt's opening World Cup game against Uruguay, where he will face off against Luis Suarez. He's already a very popular figure in that country, given his achievements with Liverpool this season and of course his penalty firing them to the World Cup last year. But of course, if he leads them out of this group, he will go down in Egyptian history. And as I say before, he is in the same group as Luis Suarez, who of course now plays for Barcelona. Suarez is now 31 years old, so this could potentially be his last World Cup, and like Salah for Egypt, he is the main man. He scored in their only warm-up game, which is a 3-0 win against Uzbekistan, and it's fair to say that Suarez has quite a controversial World Cup record. In 2010, of course, he is remembered for handballing on the line in the depths of stoppage time against Ghana, and then celebrating when they missed the resulting penalty. And of course, in 2014, he beat Giorgio Chiellini in a game against Italy for Uruguay and essentially got himself a massive ban, which led on to him being sold by Liverpool. So it does beg the question, what next for Luis Suarez in 2018 in Russia? 2 foot in a referee? And the other players that you need to be watching in this group include Lucas Torreira, who is also a Uruguayan player, a fellow teammate of Luis Suarez. He's a central defensive midfielder and he's absolutely tiny. He plays for Sampdoria in the Serie A. He's very, very good on the ball. He's very, very strong midfielder, very, very busy player. He's similar to Ander Herrera in the Premier League, bit of a shithouse, makes a lot of tackles. He's very busy in midfield. He will be a very interesting player to watch in this World Cup. Will he be able to compete with the physicality that is international football at this top level? Who knows? The big games then in Group A, Russia versus Saudi Arabia, which is this Thursday at 4 o'clock. Perhaps not the most exciting game on paper, but the World Cup opener is one that everybody tunes in for. There'll be the opening ceremony beforehand, and then the 2 teams will come out and represent their nations in the first game of the World Cup, which will be incredibly exciting. We then, of course, have Uruguay versus Egypt, which is Friday at 1 o'clock. Suarez versus Salah. All Liverpool fans should have at least one eye on this game. And then on Monday, the 25th of June at 1 p.m, a potentially massive game for Mo Salah as they play the Saudi Arabia. Could be massive in terms of qualification to the next round. We'll move on to Group B then, which contains Portugal, Spain, Morocco and Iran. And even though it's probably a foregone conclusion of who makes it through this group, there's still plenty to talk about. There's no current players that play for Liverpool in these squads, but we do have a couple of past players knocking about for Spain. We're going to talk about Iago Aspas, who plays for Celta Vigo now. He's been in great form for Celta Vigo since leaving Liverpool. He's the top scoring Spanish player in Europe's top 5 leagues this season, but he has just 10 caps for the international team. He has got in the squad ahead of Chelsea's Alvaro Morata, which is quite a big thing for him. And he scored the only goal in their 1-0 win versus Tunisia in their final warm-up game, which gives all Englishmen hope everywhere. If he can do it, surely Harry Kane can do it. He probably won't be on corners though, which is fair enough given his track record. Also in the Spain squad, we have Pepe Reina, who is down as their second choice goalkeeper. He of course plays for Napoli these days. He's unlikely to get a start ahead of David De Gea, but he is heading to his 4th World Cup. He's unlikely to get a start against David De Gea, but he is heading to his 4th World Cup, so he will be massive in that dressing room in terms of experience. Group C then, and this group includes France, Australia, Peru and Denmark. There's no current players in these squads either, but we do have Brad Jones, who's currently playing his club football at Feyenoord in Holland. He's down as Australia's 3rd choice goalkeeper and is unlikely to play, but it's good that he's going out there regardless, even at his age. There aren't any big games to look out for per se, but there are some players that we need to be keeping an eye on, and the first one is the big one, of course, Nabil Fekir for France and Lyon, and specifically Nabil Fekir's knee, because he's going to do one of 2 things at this World Cup in my opinion. He's either going to get injured in the first 10 minutes or he's going to be player of the tournament and France are going to go on winning the entire thing. It's going to be one of those 2 things. There's nothing in between, but it will be very interesting to see how Fekir performs at this World Cup. There'll be a lot more eyes on him than just Liverpool fans now that he's had all this attention drawn to him over the last week or so. There'll be fans of other clubs watching him, and there'll probably be scouts of other clubs watching him as well, keeping an eye on his talent and wondering whether he'll be a decent buy to bring to their club over the course of the summer. summer as well. We've also got Florian Thauvin, who's a striker who plays for Marseille and is also in the France side. He's been in fantastic form for Marseille at both League One level and also in the Europa League. It'll be interesting to see if he can get in that France side and whether he can make an impact. Let's move on to Group D, and there's plenty to talk about here. We've got Argentina, Iceland, Croatia and Nigeria in this group, and we'll start with the current LFC player, which is Dejan Lovren, of course, centre-back for Croatia. He's almost a nailed-on starter for them, and I fully expect them to see him play in their opener versus Nigeria on Saturday, and that day is the busiest of the tournament with 4 games back-to-back. Get yourself down to the pub, get the beers in, and just enjoy a day of footy. We've got some past players in this group as well, including Javier Mascherano, who now plays out in China. This is his 4th World Cup for Argentina, and he recently earned his 143rd cap versus Haiti on May 29th in their final warm-up game, and 1 more appearance for him will make him Argentina's most cap player ever, ahead of Javier Zanetti. So good luck to you, Javier. We hope that you can make that record at this tournament. Also playing for Nigeria is a player that I often forget played for Liverpool, but he did indeed, and it's Victor Moses, who is, of course, a Chelsea player these days. He's a starter for Nigeria, and he played versus England at Wembley a couple of weeks ago. He's part of a very underrated squad, if you ask me. They've got some good players in there. They've got some Premier League standard players in there, but as you can see, they've got a tough group, and they're likely to be on one of the first planes home. And of course, if nothing else, Nigeria have got a very, very lovely kit. I'm going to be buying it. Let us know in the comments which is your favourite kit going out to the 2018 World Cup. Other players to watch in this group, and it's a player that probably is never going to pull on a Liverpool shirt, but who cares? It's Paulo Dybala. Personally, I think that this is the World Cup where Paulo Dybala could shine. It's, of course, potentially Lionel Messi's last World Cup. It's a last World Cup where Lionel Messi will have a real chance to make an impact. I think this is the World Cup where Paulo Dybala steps up to Messi's level and shows that he will be the main man taking Argentina forward for the next 2, maybe 3 World Cups. So it'll be really interesting to see if he can make the desired impact that Argentina will want in the heir to Messi's throne, potentially. Big games in this group, Argentina versus Croatia, which is Thursday the 21st of June at 7 p.m. Of course, the 2 teams that are expected to progress to the round of 16 from this group, it's Messi versus Lovren. He coped with Ronaldo already in the Champions League final. How will he cope with Messi at the World Cup? We'll have to wait and see. Group E then, and plenty for us to keep an eye on this group as well. A group that contains Brazil, Switzerland, Costa Rica and Serbia. We'll start off with the current players as usual. Roberto Firmino, of course, playing for Brazil. They're one of the favourites to win the tournament. They've got an amazing squad, including players like Neymar, Coutinho, Willian, Thiago Silva. Their opener is against Switzerland on Sunday, but Bobby is unlikely to start because Gabriel Jesus is above him in the pecking order. I know, they don't know what they're missing out on, but it's their loss. He scored against Croatia at Anfield in a 2-0 win in one of their warm-up games after replacing Jesus, so maybe they'll be cottoning on to the fact that Firmino is obviously better than Gabriel Jesus at this tournament. We've also got Marko Grujic, who plays for Serbia. Now, his good performances for Cardiff in the back end of last season during that loan spell have earned him a call-up. It's looking good for him to get some minutes in Russia, but he faces some tough competition in Serbia's midfield from Manchester United's Nemanja Matic, Lazio's Milinkovic-Savic and Crystal Palace's Luka Milivojevic. And don't forget the one past player that we've got in this group as well. Playing for Brazil, it's of course Philippe Coutinho. He left Liverpool for Barcelona for £142 million in January. He's more than likely to be starting in pretty much all of Brazil's games at the tournament this summer. He started both of the warm-up friendlies against Croatia and Austria. He's been playing on the wing, he's been playing midfield. It's unclear what system that they'll be playing at the World Cup itself, but he's got a big potential to go far in this tournament with his team. Okay, some other players to watch in this group. We're going to start off with the Brazilian goalkeeper Alisson, who's been one of the strongest linked goalkeepers to LFC over the recent weeks since the Champions League final, and obviously those Karius blunders. He's likely to be a starter for Brazil ahead of Man City's Ederson, which just again defines his quality, says that he'll be a very good buy for Liverpool if we decide to spend the money. We've got Xherdan Shaqiri, who plays for Switzerland and Stoke City, although he probably won't be playing for Stoke City for very long, if you know what I mean. He's Switzerland star man. He's been Stoke star man in a very difficult season, but he could be a Liverpool player before he next kicks the ball for his country. We'll have to wait and see with that one. We've got Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, who plays for Lazio in centre midfield. He's a mate of Lucas by now, probably. He is a very, very good player. You want to be keeping an eye out for this guy. He's a powerhouse midfielder who can play for a box-to-box, deep as a 6, or even as an 8/10. He reminds me of Yaya Toure. He's very strong and powerful, great at tackling, great at driving forward with the ball as well. Even though Serbia are likely to be going out of this group, it'll be interesting to see if he can perform and make a bit of an impact, make a bit of a name for himself at the World Cup. I think he can be one of this tournament stars for Serbia. The big game in this group then, from our perspective, is of course Brazil versus Switzerland, which is this Sunday, 7 o'clock. It's the first chance for us to watch Xherdan Shaqiri. Will he be a Liverpool player by then? Let us know in the comments below, unless he already is, in which case, don't. Moving on to Group F, a group which contains Germany, Mexico, Sweden and South Korea. There are no current or past players in these squads, but the one player that we're going to keep an eye out for in this group is Leon Goretzka, who plays for Germany and Schalke. Nearly signed for us on multiple occasions over the last couple of seasons, but is due to sign with Bayern Munich on July 1st, which means that out there somewhere is some German equivalent of Ben Kelly doing a Goretzka countdown every week until July 1st. But the question is here, will we see the best of a player that we've missed out on, or will we be seeing that we've dodged a bullet? Will he be getting game time for Germany? Only time will tell. Moving on to Group G then, and it's the group that I assume most of you will have the most interest in. It's England's group with Belgium, Panama and Tunisia. We have 3 players to be keeping an eye on in this group, 2 of which are English. The first is Jordan Henderson, our club captain. Now he's one of 2 players in Gareth Southgate's squad. However, Harry Kane has been given the nod for captaincy ahead of him. What this says to me is that he won't be a guaranteed starter for England at this World Cup. Different players will suit different systems in different games for England, and I think Harry Kane is pretty much the only nailed-on starter for England in all of the group games at the moment. We also, of course, have Trent-Alexander, who's only 19 years old. He's a fantastic lad, and he only earned his first England cap last Thursday against Costa Rica at Elland Road. He did himself no harm in that game in his bid to start against Tunisia on Monday. He was given set-piece responsibilities, and he put in a really good overall performance. His competition for that right wing-back role lies in Tottenham's Kieran Trippier, who is more likely to be given the nod ahead of him, but I tell you what, he's got a chance. Kyle Walker is expected to play as a centre-back as part of a back 3, probably with John Stones and Harry Maguire, so it's just a straight shootout between Trippier and Alexander-Arnold. Let us know who you think should be starting for England in the comments below. We've also got Simon Mignolet, who's a goalkeeper obviously for Belgium, unlikely to play ahead of Thibaut Courtois, but he's in the squad, so we wish him all the best, except in his game against England, because obviously we want England to win there. Well, most of us do anyway, of course. Past players, and just the one past player, you all know who it is. It's Raheem Sterling, who plays for Manchester City and England. Unfortunately, he's one of England's biggest stars, and if we're going to go far in this tournament, it's going to be because of players like Raheem Sterling. He can do so much on the ball, and even though the English press seem dead set against him doing well at this tournament, he is almost a nailed-on starter for the Tunisia game on Monday, and I wish him all the best in Russia. Good luck, Raheem, and good luck, England. Other players to watch then in this group, we're going to start with Manchester City's Kevin De Bruyne. We know how good he is. It'll be interesting to see if he can take his level of performances for Manchester City this season and reproduce them at the World Cup. I do think that given the players that Belgium have, they could be one of the dark horses for this tournament, and Kevin De Bruyne will be at the forefront of that, pulling the strings from midfield. For players like Romelu Lukaku, who will be playing ahead of him, you also want to keep an eye on Yannick Carrasco, plays now for Dalian Yifang in China. He's one of the most interesting players in Belgium's squad because he's been playing in a very poor quality league, yet he's been called up anyway, and I think it'll be very interesting to see if he can match the level of quality expected of him and of other players around him in this tournament. The big games in this group then, and of course it's the England game. We're going to be starting our campaign next Monday, the 18th of June against Tunisia, 7 o'clock kickoff. We then move on to the Panama game, which is Sunday the 24th of June at 2 p.m. And then finally the big one against Belgium. It'd probably be vital in getting through to the round of 16, knowing England, but that is the 28th of June, 7 o'clock. Big game, lots of Premier League players facing off against each other. It's going to be a game of big quality. There may be a lot of stake. It's one that you do not want to miss. And the final group, Group H, involves Poland, Senegal, Colombia and Japan. And there's a fair bit to talk about in this group as well. We do, of course, have Sadio Mane representing Senegal in this group. Good old Sadio will be playing out there. I believe they have one of the strongest African squads at this tournament, but they have a tough group. They've got Poland, they've got Colombia, who have top players in Robert Lewandowski and James Rodriguez. Lewandowski is desperate to leave Bayern Munich this summer. He'll be desperate to show what he can do. He'll be looking to drag Poland out of that group almost single-handedly. It'll be interesting to see if he can perform to his potential at this tournament, having disappointed slightly in the Champions League semi-finals for Bayern Munich. He's the player to watch in this tournament, along with James Rodriguez. Will he be out to prove Real Madrid wrong when it comes to the fact that they've loaned him to Bayern Munich for 2 years? Also in this group, Sadio Mane's teammate, you've got Kalidou Koulibaly, who is a towering centre-back playing for Napoli. He's been an integral part of their title challenge in Serie A this year, and it'll be interesting to see. We've been linked against him in the past. Will he be able to perform at this level and deal with the top players of this tournament, such as Lewandowski and Rodriguez, who he will be facing against in this group. The big game for you to be looking out for in this group comes from the third round of fixtures, and it's Senegal versus Colombia, the 28th of June, 3 o'clock kickoff. This could be a decider of not only who goes through from this group, but also who plays England in the round of 16, because the winner slash runner-up of our group, Group G, plays the winner slash runner-up of this group, Group H. Going to be really interesting matchup. Will England end up playing Sadio Mane in the round of 16? That'll be a tasty tie, won't it? Yep. Definitely. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There is everything Liverpool FC related that you need to know ahead of the World Cup in Russia. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, give us a subscribe, leave us a comment. Who is going to win the World Cup this year? How will Liverpool players do? Will there be any current Liverpool players or former Liverpool players picking up World Cup medals come the 15th of July? Let us know down below. I've been Ben Kelly for the Redmen TV. See you next time. Goodbye.